Now, here's the thing. I can't hear Richard, but he can hear me. But I did have sound, so I think your microphone's off, Richard. Who can hear me and who can hear Richard? Tell us in the comments. Yeah, so right, my microphone's on. So obviously, yeah. You had me running around thinking my sound wasn't working.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
There you are.
Marvellous. Okay, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
You're very echoey.
Oh, okay. Let me.
It's not what I'd expect from your microphone.
Yeah. Okay. How about now? Are we better now?
Much better.
Right, marvellous. Okay. I'm too loud. Hang on. Let me turn myself down. Right. Okay. How are we now?
Good. I see you've got a new office.
Yeah, I've got a new office. I've got a new job. Basically, I now man the security console on the Enterprise D refit. Yeah, that's what I do now. So this evening's show is going to be a little highbrow. I want to talk about writing this evening because I'm getting very much towards the end of the Voyager kind of marathon I've been on, and I think I've uncovered something about Star Trek writing that's very relevant to the article you sent me today, James, about the problems of Star Trek.
Yes.
So yeah, I thought I'd go. But before we do that, we've obviously got to say hello to people and do something stupid. So, what ho, Mark? What ho, Christoph? What ho, Nadim? I hope you've warmed up. Hey, Rashid, how you doing, buddy? Gary, how you doing, buddy? How's everyone doing this evening? It's fantastic to see you all. If you've never seen the stream before, please do in the comments say your favourite series, your favourite character, your favourite episode. We love to hear that, and please say hello.
Yes,
so
then we'll tell you why you're wrong.
Then we'd like to tell you why you're wrong. But before we move on, we need to do something a little bit silly first. And basically, some years ago, James and I produced a video which some scaggy internet troll is trying to take down. So we're going to play it now. Have fun.
When the day is dawning on a Texas Sunday morning, how I long to be there with Marie who's waiting for me there. Every lonely city where I hang my hat ain't as half as pretty as where my baby's at. Is this the way to Amarillo? Every night I'll be hugging my pillow, dreaming dreams of Amarillo, and sweet Marie who waits for me. Show me the way to Amarillo. I've been weeping like a willow, crying over Amarillo, and sweet Marie who waits for me. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la, 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 and Marie who waits for me. There's a church bell ringing with a song of joy that it's singing for the sweet Maria and the guy who's come to see her. Just beyond the highway, there's an open plain, and it keeps me going through the wind and rain. Is this the way to Amarillo? Every I've been weeping like a willow, crying over Amarillo, and sweet Marie who waits for me. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, and Marie who waits for me. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, and Marie who waits for me. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, and Marie who waits for me.
Gosh, we had so much fun.
Ah,
Didn't we just? Wasn't that marvelous?
it brings joy to my heart every time we play that. So much fun to make.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad you enjoyed it because some internet trolls trying to get it taken off the internet. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. Fantastic.
Well, we can always make it again.
We can make it 100. It's marvelous. So, what have you been up to this week then, James? That's Trek related.
Mainly working and trying not to catch hypothermia.
Also, earning money to buy more Trek produce. Fair enough.
Yes, sure. Why not? What have you been up to, Richard?
Well, I've been reading a bit about Trek. I've been trying to listen to the Star Trek Coda audiobooks. So, yes, dear listeners, if you're watching and you have a Spotify account, that's a Spotify premium account, they've just really tried to bomb Audible out of the market, and there's literally they're not pushing it hard enough. But if you go to the audiobook section of your Spotify account, there are literally hundreds of Star Trek audiobooks there. It's incredible just how many there are, all there for free, included with your premium account. So go, especially the Spock versus Q1 and Spock versus Q2, and they're both easily the best Star Trek audiobooks I've listened to. They're fantastic, with John Luntz and Len DeMoy, and they're marvelous. So please check them out. But I've been trying to listening to Star Trek Coda.
Coda, did you say?
Yeah, the one with all of them in it, and the 3-book one where I think that the issue I have for me is Star Trek is primarily it's very much a visual experience, and it has to be. And this isn't canon, and it just doesn't work for me. I've tried, but it's just not. It's not for me. I've tried. It's not for me. But Spock versus Q 1 and 2 are on there, and they're superb. So use your Spotify account, listen to them. You'll thank me. They are superb. And Janeway's autobiography as well, read by Kate Mulgrew, superb.
Oh yes, that's a good fun one, isn't it?
I think that's probably my favourite Star Trek book I've read. Actually, I think that was absolutely superb. Really enjoyed that.
The Cisco one is out this year, I believe, but I don't think it's read by Avery Brooks.
Well, I'm not sure how they'd do it, would they? Because did he write it before he got turned into a phantom? I don't know. I mean,
his story's never been resolved. It could well be he's come back.
But they didn't. I'm referring to Coda. They didn't. Referring to Coda. I've been trying to watch that. They didn't approach me to read Cisco's autobiography,
which is just bizarre when you think about it, isn't it?
Bit odd, bit strange.
The foremost impersonator of Avery Brooks I've ever come across.
The way to a woman's heart is through her stomach. Would you like to try my jambalaya? Yeah.
Can you say this for me? I lied. I covered up the crimes of other men, and you know what? I think I can live with it.
I lied. I covered up the crimes of other men, and you know what? I think I can live with
it. Computer delete log entry.
So I'm watching Voyager at the moment, and honestly, it's just incredible how good the writing is in the final season. It really is, and it got me to thinking: why did it work, and why did Enterprise not work? Like, why did that get cancelled? Like, what's the issue we have here? So we've got the original series. That's, for me, not relevant to this conversation. And then we had The Next Generation, and The Next Generation was brilliant and fantastic. And then from The Next Generation, we had Deep Space Nine, which struggled until we had an arcing purpose. So we had the Dominion War. We had a vested interest in where the story was going, what was happening. And then Voyager, it struggled a little bit, but it found its feet, and we had a vested interest in Voyager because were they going to get home? Now, there was a point to the series, if that makes sense. That's where we're going with it. And then Enterprise really struggled season. I think they had some good standalone episodes, but they had some struggles season 1 and 2. Season 3, they had a series long arc where
the Zindi,
and it picked up because people were interested in seeing where it was going. Do you see where I'm going now? It's about having a vested interest, and I think in season 4 of Enterprise, where they had sort of double story long arcs, double episodes, I think treble episodes. I think that they were finding the right balance between the two. I think they really were. But obviously, it didn't get renewed for a 5th season, and now we're with Discovery at the moment, which for me personally is not working. I think season 1 I enjoyed the most because it was the wow factor, and then it just got a bit from that. They try and have a season-long story, but there's not enough substance in the writing to make it the plot could be resolved in one episode. It doesn't need to be a season long. I think that's where they're failing in Discovery. I think
about the lack of development of anyone apart from Burnham, Saru, and Tilly.
Yeah, there's no development. What I'm sort of getting at is that as the consumer, there's no vested interest. I couldn't care. I genuinely couldn't care what happens to Discovery. I couldn't care if they get home. Are they trying to get home? I don't know. I don't.
I think now they've gone to the.
If they get back to their own time,
they probably won't come back, will they?
Oh, right, James, your audio has dropped for me. I don't know if it's dropped for everyone else.
Oh dear!
I can no longer hear you.
Can anyone else hear me?
I think it might be my issue here.
Let us know in the comments if you can still hear me, but
it's definitely my issue.
And whether you can hear Richard. Yeah, Rashid can hear me. It's your problem, Richard. It's your end. Well, this is unusual.
Yeah, so basically it's
me that has all the tech problems, and here's Richard having tech problems from the most high-tech office you can imagine.
But it's the audio comm system won't be ready until Thursday. I think.
Let me see if I can just fix it for you. Hang on. Is that any better?
Much better, thank you, James. I mean, generally, what I'm getting is that I really have this, even for now. I think it's my 3rd or possibly 4th rewatch of Voyager. I'm really, really excited to see it to its conclusion. I've got a massive vested interest in this crew. I really have. I really care about what happens to them. And I think that's somewhat amplified by the fact I'm watching with my kids for the first time. But, it's just very clever. Every episode now in Voyager is very clever writing. And that's why I'm really enjoying it.
You're not wrong, Richard. You're not wrong at all.
I'm not wrong. And I'm going to touch on an issue now that we probably wouldn't have done back on Let's Talk Trek, because it's a bit of a touchy subject, but bear with me on this and don't just switch off if you have a strong opinion either way. But James sent me an article today from Giant Freaking Robot about where Star Trek is going.
Giant Freaking Robot.
What should what should Paramount do next with Star Trek? Why did they cancel Prodigy, which was such a big hit? And and I'm going to talk a bit now, and I'm going to mention the word they wouldn't mention in Giant Freaking Robot because they don't want to touch the show. And this is the whole woke issue, the whole woke agenda, which Discovery comes under a lot of criticism for. For I think they call it over ramming it down your throat. I think is the
over representation is
over. Yeah. So because I've always felt very, very strongly about Star Trek and representation because it's got its history rooted in it, and it's made such a. I personally think Star Trek's made such a difference by doing representation
and doing it well.
Yeah, and doing it well. And my fear has been for a long time, since Discovery started, that they're no longer doing it well. And when you dilute the message, it pollutes the message. It doesn't do any good. And it's very relevant now. Last year, there was only one studio in Hollywood that made any money, and that was Universal Studios. And they're the ones who didn't peddle anything at all that was to do with what some people would call the woke agenda. Now, I say this very much wholeheartedly, and please don't take me the wrong way. Representation is so important. It's incredibly important. So you have to do it right. Because if you do it wrong, you really fuck things up. so do it right. Don't
That's
just
a technical term.
Yeah, I mean, but genuinely, it's if you're going to do it, you have to do it right, or you will do more damage than good. And I think the Star Trek's got lost in that phase. So the article that you sent me, James, was to do with giving control to just one person.
Yeah, so in this country with Doctor Who, we've now got what's known as a showrunner, who sort of seems to be the guiding force as a producer. And that's currently Russell T Davies for Doctor Who, but before him it was someone called Chris Chibnall, who, for my money, did more damage to a sci-fi brand than anyone else in history. I mean, Terry Matalas, his name is in the frame. Terry Matalas has a career with Trek going all the way back to, I think, Enterprise, possibly Voyager, I think he may have worked on. But he's the one who gave us Picard Season 3. And if you can find anyone out there who didn't think Picard Season 3 was absolutely brilliant, then, I mean, who's going to do a better job than this guy?
Well, I thought it was okay. So, I mean, we're keeping this kind of highbrow time. We're going to talk about the subjects no one else wants to talk about. Again, there's the article you sent me steered well away from talking about representation and everything because it's a touchy subject. It does polarize people. What we want to do is to bring people together on this show. So you've got an opinion, please, bring it in. So Tony said, "Hope you don't mind me saying no. We don't mind you saying anything. That's the point. So say what you feel." Star Trek has always seemed to do things realistically, and since Star Trek Discovery started, it seemed all over the place. I think
he's right.
I think you're right. Yeah, it has seemed all over the place. It's lacked focus, and I think perhaps that's back to what I'm trying to explain. What's the longevity to Voyager and DS9? The investment you have in the characters and in the conclusion of the story. I think I've answered my own question there. It's the characters obviously important, but very much the investment in the story. I couldn't give a shit what happens to Discovery. I can't even remember who the baddie was meant to be in their season-long story. Or was it a computer? It was a box.
Didn't they have a computer program in season 2 called Control, and they escaped Control by basically jumping to the future, which seemed to me to make no sense because presumably Control, being a computer program, could just wait for them to arrive. Something to do with a Red Angel at some point. I just totally lost interest. I couldn't cope with it.
And there we are. That's it. You lost interest. So whatever message in and this is what Star Trek, I believe, is for. It's getting a good message across. whatever message they may try to deliver is not going to be watched by anyone because they're bored of watching it. So Christoph says,
I'm glad you've picked that comment there, Richard, because
right.
I'm going to have to admit to something.
Okay.
Okay. Do you remember the scene in Picard season 3, episode 9, where they go back to the Fleet Museum and Geordie's got a surprise for them? And we all knew it was coming. We all knew what it was going to be. But when they went onto the bridge, the room that you sit in now of the Enterprise D, and we saw all the lights come and we saw it fly out that starbase with that beautiful booming soundtrack, I had an emotion.
Fantastic.
A single tear formed in this eye here. I was so happy.
Betty says disco just isn't good, isn't it? Absolutely, you're spot on there. You know, I think you're spot on with. So whatever message they tried to get across, isn't going to be seen by anyone because people won't remember it and don't care.
What we're saying is we don't mind the message at all. We just want to see it done properly.
Yeah, exactly. Nadim says Picard season 3 is a one-off.
All right, Nadim, I'm challenging you this. They get Shatner out of mothballs and they bring back the Constitution class Enterprise. Let's see them do that.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're all, you know, I think we're all on the same page. And if you've managed to keep watching, if we've polarized your opinion, thank you. And if you think I'm wrong or James is wrong, then please do say in the comments. It's really important that we have a discussion about this. Star Trek for me has been important on a personal level, down to representation, in more ways than I could even begin to explain. So when I see them do a really piss poor job of it, like they did in Discovery, and also not have a program engaging enough for you to pay attention, I really feel quite let down. I think they've dropped the ball. But that, if you think I'm wrong, let's have a chat about it. Could it be messages hard to see?
I'm not sure I understand the first part of that sentence, but
I'll leave you to answer that then, James.
Well, the first part of the sentence makes no sense, but the second half, season 5 could be pointless. Well, it's going to do us a favour. It's going to bring it to an end. But I don't know. I honestly, I just can't engage with Discovery. Even when they completely rebooted it and moved it into the future, I don't really understand it. I don't like the characters. I don't have any empathy for the characters. I don't really like what the future looks like compared to the 25th century.
Yes, stylistically, yeah, I think they've actually got that. I think they've got that very wrong. Like in terms of design, I completely agree with that.
Well, the interesting thing, we've seen the Enterprise J from Enterprise, and that's only meant to be like the 26th century, isn't it?
I don't know.
But either way, the Enterprise J, I mean, whether it's the 26th or the 29th century, 300 years apart, it's meant to be like 5 kilometers long and universe class and able to hop across the galaxy. Yet Starfleet 300 years beyond that, or 600 years, depending on where I've got the timeline wrong, just looks a bit naff, to be honest.
So she says Discovery lost a huge opportunity, in his opinion. And this is what we like, opinions. We may not all agree, but this is where you can voice them. Going 900 years in the future, the possibilities were endless. It was... I get what they were doing with the Scream. It was meant to kind of... It was a metaphor for someone's struggle. But yeah, it was shit.
Was that the whole plot arc that said all the dilithium suddenly exploded and every ship that had an active warp core blew up?
Yeah.
But it didn't make any sense because things like the Romulans use a singularity rather than dilithium, so they wouldn't have been affected, and that wasn't really explained.
So yeah, the from our internal source that we can't name, Tony, there won't be a Picard season 4. Picard's only Patrick Stewart's only interested in doing a film. So
yeah,
no more Picard. Yeah, I think we're all had enough of Picard. So Christoph, yeah. So Abrams, we revealed last week, Abrams is doing another Star Trek film. This is going to be Birth of the Federation. So basically, it's going to pick up where Enterprise finished. So that'll be quite cool.
Hang on. Let me just shine this light brightly into the camera. There we go.
Just like the Enterprise, J. Yeah. My first one is some Star Trek messages could not be as easily seen, which turned to be easy watched.
Yes, you're saying the message is too subtle to be understood.
Yeah, and I get that argument as well. Sometimes people do need it rammed down their throat. I do completely get that. But forgive me if I'm being a bit arrogant here. I think possibly the Star Trek community are a bit more highbrow in their ability to
a little more tolerant.
Yeah, and this is why it's important. I think we can. None of us would disagree that the message trying to be put across at the moment by Star Trek isn't important, but the way they're delivering it's a bit shit. That's what's pissing us off. Oh, James, it's happened again. So Rashid says, I personally like Discovery. So many good things, lots of characters I like, but too many things wrong, unfortunately. Yeah, there are lots of things. So like, I love them. I've got his name now, the Doctor in it. I really like his character. I think he's great. Not keen on Saru, who's the. But yeah, there are some things to like about it. But sadly, they got rid of Lorca after season 1, and they got rid of Pike after season 2. So there we are. Well, James seems to have left me to it for the time being. So, if anyone would like to now jump on board and talk, now's your time. I'm going to do, if you agree or disagree or would like to have weigh in with the opinion, here's a link. You can jump in, and we'll let you jump on and have your say. But keeping this in line with tonight's topic to do with the writing, I think it's a bit harsh to say that perhaps we're just pandering now to what people want. I don't think that's the case. I think writers are possibly a little bit too worried about pushing the boundaries and not. Oh, he's back. Hello, James.
Yeah, my PC abruptly decided to shut itself down. I don't know quite why. We didn't have a power cut. But,
it started up again nice and quickly. Is it an
well,
SSD?
it's the one you installed, Richard.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a storm raging out there, so we are sort of at risk of power cuts.
Windy around here. So they are. Oh, this is an interest. So this is interesting. So, well, only Mirror Lorca was killed off. Prime Lorca possibly might be alive somewhere, but I'm not sure how.
He might be a bit of a drip, though, mightn't he?
He might fit right in with the Discovery crew. Yeah.
I mean, Lorca, he was a strong, commanding presence.
He was, and he had built-in sunglasses.
And of course, he was played by a British actor, and therefore played well.
Yeah, well, and obviously the baddie.
I mean, after all, if you want something done properly, you go British.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's move on to a more cheerful topic. If we're done with highbrow stuff. What are we looking forward to, James? What have we got coming up on the calendar?
Well, we've got this trip to Southampton.
Right, okay.
Subject to the approval of the present Mrs. Dillon. I suppose I better ask her at some point.
And when is this happening, James?
I'm not sure. Is it the second weekend in February?
9th February.
It's in February anyway.
And where's it happening?
It's happening in Southampton at the Grand Harbour Hotel, previously the venue of the SF Ball, which moved to the Trevor McDonald Golfing Hotel somewhere near Portsmouth last year, which was just a disaster because it had a corridor about 17 miles long and our room was at the far end of it. And they served you 2 food options, both of which were vastly overpriced, and there was nowhere else to go. Yeah, so sadly, the SF Ball's not happening this year for a number of reasons. But our dear friend Zoe has arranged Folks, as you call it, but I call Faux-Con, to take place at the Grand Harbour Hotel in
How do
Southampton.
one pronounce it?
Faux. It's French.
There's an
F-A-U-X.
X on the end.
Means false.
So it's a silent X.
Silent X.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, we're getting together for a piss up at a hotel in South.
It's basically a piss up in a hotel. Destination Star Trek is still currently listed to take place in the summer. We're not going to
Absolutely.
that because it's in the frigid wastelands of the frozen north. We're not going up there. We may or may not appear at Portsmouth Comic Con. I'm waiting for them to come back to me as to whether they want to hire us. And that's it, really. That's all we've got.
Well, it's interesting. So, again, we'll have the discussion no one wants to have. So Destination Trek, they did have 4. One's pulled out.
Who is it that's gone?
Ethan Phillips was there.
Ethan Phillips has pulled out, has he? But they've got RDM, Andrew Robinson, and was it Tim Russ?
No. Yes.
Yeah, so 2 Voyager, 1 DS9, and then there are 3 actors who appeared in TOS, but and I'll be generous, they were people milling around in the background.
So if anyone's not clocked the issue they have with Blackpool, there's still a possibility we might come, Rashid. I'll look forward.
It's not a question of we can't make it. It's a question we can't be asked to go that far. Like...
So the issue is that for the organisers is that there's Star Trek Las Vegas happening.
No, San Diego Comic-Con.
That'll do as well. Where most of the Star Trek actors will be. So therefore their agents would want, and the actors themselves, to be fair, would want to go there because they will get a lot more money than in Blackpool. So it's very difficult for them to commit to an event in Blackpool. Years gone by when they've struggled for guests, they have gone ahead. Whether this will go ahead or not, we don't know. We don't know. But I would be surprised if any more guests are announced that aren't category C or lower.
Yes, I'm sure they'll manage to fill it with something. It just won't be us.
Yeah.
But should they move it somewhere more sort of southerly, that's within our operating range, like back to London, we'll be there.
That's okay, David. It's a pleasure to see you anyway, chap.
How are you, David? Hope you're well. Are you there, Christoph, for any other reason or just because you want to go to this event?
Yes, and it might be San Diego Comic Con. I might have got that confused, Rashid. Sorry.
Yeah, San Diego is definitely the same day because we've been booked for that.
Oh, yes, we are booked for that, aren't we? We booked... No, hang on a minute. What we booked for... We booked for some big virtual Trek Con, aren't
yes,
we?
no, it's virtual Trek Con is next month. We've been booked to do, which we've really got to get back to people. Oh, hello, look, someone's joining the stream.
Yeah, so whilst you were gone, I put a thing up in the stream saying if anyone had something to say that was both engaging, relevant, and important, they could jump on and say hello. What ho, Tony?
And here's Tony.
Good evening.
How you doing?
Good afternoon, morning, wherever you are.
Well, it's definitely evening for us. It's about 9:30 p.m.
It's just gone 25 to 10 here, so yeah.
And whereabouts are you from, Tony?
I'm from Hull.
Hull. It's the same.
We're in the
time.
United Kingdom. We're all at the same time zone.
So you jumped on the stream, Tony. It's a pleasure to see you. Did you have something sort of?
Likewise.
Did you have something on your mind that you needed to share with us, or just wanted to say hello?
It was actually going back to Discovery because I know it was partially touched on when I actually joined you live. And don't get me wrong, there is some like kind of interesting things within the 4 seasons that we've had so far. The one thing I did find strange was when Dr. Culber was killed and then revived later by the Jasep. I did find that odd, although he didn't seem to have all of his memories completely full, if you know what I mean. But then later on to the end of season 2, after his fight with Ash Tyler, he somehow gains some of his memory back, which I kind of find a bit odd.
So, hello to your lurker behind you. Hello.
That's my partner, Haley.
Hey, Haley, how you doing? Yeah, I mean, this Discovery is absolutely is smashed full of metaphors, and certainly the Doctor's death and rebirth. You know that's all about him discovering who he is and where he is and whatnot. I like that, but I think it was just there was too much focus on it, and we've said this before on the show how much old Trek, or we like to call it the golden age of Trek, how they could fit so much story into just 45 minutes. Yeah, you can have an hour-long episode Discovery. Buckle. You get nothing from it whatsoever. It's the quality of the writing. Yet the buggers have got the cheek to go on strike. I don't know. But, yeah.
You know what, Richard? Just for that, I think I might go back and try and watch some of Discovery again and go, right, I'll give it another go and see if for some reason I was wrong on the previous run through.
Season 1 and 2 are very good. Tony, I think you need to attend to something there. Season 1 and 2 are very good, but they're only intermittently good. You know, it's not consistently good all the way through. That's the issue. Very, very similar, I think, to the Picard season. But there we are. But getting back to as you've come on and spoke about it, getting back there, move it to Glasgow.
God no, might run into that Nicholas Sturgeon. Ooh.
Ew.
Swimming pool.
Oh boy.
Was it a camper van? Oh, I can't remember now. But yeah, so it's Discovery's. It's certainly season 1. Do you recall the first couple of episodes with the Klingon War? The fight scene where Discovery jumps in and just batters everything and jumps. It was we were so excited about it, and it all went really lame. But there are things you can enjoy about it. Are we agreed then? Possibly it's more a consistency issue.
I think that's half the problem, and that was one of the point I was trying to get across with the comment I put in. That obviously some messages in season 1 compared to seasons 2, 3, 4 can be a lot harder to grasp, and sometimes for a person who watches it, it might put them off.
Absolutely, yeah. So this is where I personally think Star Trek has always done a very good job historically. It's by putting the message across in a way that everyone can absorb, and I don't think that Discovery does that. I think Discovery panders to a certain audience and therefore will polarize. And this is the sick twist. It's the one it polarizes that need to hear it the most. People they're pandering it to aren't the ones that need to hear it. So they're completely shooting themselves in the foot. So that's the sad truth of it. In my humble opinion, which is correct.
The one thing I have noticed just recently, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this as well, but I've been watching Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
And I've already finished season 1, I haven't started season 2 yet. Already, I've seen some major similarities between the original series with Kirk in it compared to some that are in season 1. And I'm like, have they really done that? You know, because you can clearly see in some of the episodes already in season 1 that, for example, in the original series, the Enterprise incident, I can't remember if it's season 1 or 2, where Pike gets into a similar issue with the Romulans, and then he gets thrown off by Kirk, who was in command of the Farragut, I believe. And then it almost goes out of whack. But then somehow they bring it back.
Personally, for me and
Oh, he's gone again.
not James, it feels to me like Strange New Worlds is very much Paramount testing the water. I think they're trying to find. Are they like this? Are they not going to like this? Where they're going with this? And back to my, as I was saying before, follow the money.
You know how I was saying how I like that computer you installed, Richard?
Yeah.
That's twice it shut down abruptly while we've been on.
Are you having problems with your computer? Do you need IT to have?
Yes, you're going to have to fix it.
Not a problem.
Make something at it. Make it work.
£20 now. I'll be around tomorrow. Now,
Okay.
So the so I can't remember what I was talking about. No, so
Paramount and the
the money talks. One studio made a profit last year, Universal. They're the ones that released Oppenheimer and a couple other films. Talk about polarizing. So this is the thing, Paramount and Disney Plus and whatnot. They're not going to be around to give anyone a message if no one's watching. So they're going to have to find a happy medium, and I feel that's what they're doing with Strange New Worlds. I think that's where they're kind of testing the water, if you will. And I think they're doing it well. I'm very much enjoying Strange New Worlds.
I've got to admit, I'm enjoying it as well.
I think it's really good. How are you feeling about Strange New Worlds, James?
Well, I was just going to say that I once punched Mystic Meg because I always like to strike a happy medium. But Strange New Worlds, yes, I like Strange New Worlds. Pike and his quiff are fantastic, aren't they?
It's for me, it's brilliant that Strange New World is on and Gladiators is back as well.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I went to university with Jet from the original Gladiators.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
Diane Newbell.
Yeah, you missed her. James and I went to the same university, but we missed each other by a year. And Jet went to our university my year, the year that you left.
So she must have gone after Gladiators finished. Is that right?
She was an older student, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, she was really nice. I did a seminar with her. She was. I generally didn't recognise. I quite fancied her, obviously, because I was a 13-year-old, whatnot. But,
did she get her pugil stick out?
Well, I didn't recognise her without a slap on. Someone else had to tell me it was Jet. When someone else told me, I was like, "Oh yeah."
I haven't yet appeared, but I am in the new Gladiators as one of the Gladiators, and I'm Asthma.
Oh my word!
I basically lie in a puddle on the floor, going.
I'm also a gladiator. Would you like to know my gladiator name?
Is it, I don't know, Sponge?
I'm Hasselhoff. Ask me the question, James.
Has anyone hassled you?
No, the other question. Ask me where the beach is.
Oh, sorry, Hasselhoff. Which way to the beach?
The beach is that way. Yes, I'm enjoying the new Gladiators, especially the Gladiator called Legend. If anyone's watching it, he's my favourite.
Is he the one who's been in the press for drug abuse?
I don't read the papers, but possibly
Yes.
Yeah.
He was recently on BBC News.
It was going to happen, wasn't it? They knew
It
it would
was.
happen.
But I do like the way that they have brought inclusion into it, because there is one gladiator that is deaf.
Oh, the rugby player, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
And
several female gladiators.
I think that's amazing that they've included them.
Well, she's built like a brick shit.
So presumably, she
I
doesn't
certainly
go on
won't mess with
the
her.
whistle so much as the ref waves a flag or something.
Mm. I certainly wouldn't mess with that gladiator, though.
But
Some of them scare me.
I'm enjoying very much the fact that there's no VAR and Mark Clattenburg is the head referee. What was the name of the Scottish referee who did it back in the 90s? What was the bucker's name? I can't remember his name.
Was it John Anderton or something?
Yeah.
John
You
Anderson.
will go on my first whistle. Contender, you will go on my second.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they've got Clattenburg in.
They should get Pierluigi Collina. He'd be great. He's a football referee, by the way,
I don't
Richard.
think he speaks English.
He doesn't need to, does he? He just go, you, whistle one.
No, he does this.
His stare was bad enough.
Well, actually, for that matter, get Robert O'Reilly to be Gowron. He could be the ref.
It's amazing how many viewers of the Star Trek show have dropped off since we started talking about gladiators, which I find bizarre.
You are competing for glory.
Pierluigi Collina and Gowron in a staring contest. I mean, that would be my money would be probably on Robert O'Reilly. I've met him in real life, and
I think Robert O'Reilly would probably win that hands down.
He's a bit younger as well, so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we need to address this, Alan. Is that where the similarity ends?
I mean, you know, giant might also be my weight, but that's not going to be a good thing.
He's a big boy, that giant. Legend was the YouTuber and did eating challenges with Eddie Hall. Hall is UK strongman. He holds the world record.
He was a world's strongest man.
Yeah, he holds. Well, he didn't win the world's strongest man, but he holds the world record for the deadlift, which amongst those that pump iron is quite a big jobby.
He's also the same person who holds the record for pulling the longest train in the US.
Right.
Which is over 45 foot.
Marvelous.
The record before was 38.5 foot.
That's a very short train.
Well, what it was is that it originally started off as 5 carriages, and then they increased it to 10. And God knows what the weight of the carriages are. I wouldn't have a clue. I don't know what the Americans build with, but yeah, he managed it in under 2 minutes.
Has anybody watching ever been accused of taking drugs? Gosh, you answered that quickly, Anne.
Just because you haven't been done doesn't mean you haven't been accused.
Has anyone watching ever done Mr. Hom? Well, there we are. Right, so...
Look, I'm just doing my J.J. Abrams. Look, there you go.
You've got a very shiny head, Mr. Dim. It's about time you had a Richard haircut, let's be honest. So, getting back onto Star Trek...
well, what's all the news about the movie then, Richard? Tell us about the movie.
Well, the movie is that Abrams is on board. It's in production. It's been announced as official. And all we know is it's going to be Birth of the Federation. So we suspect it's going to be following on for the last episode of Enterprise, which I find a bit sad because I kind of wanted another series doing the birth of the Federation. I don't think a film, especially an Abrams film, will do my golden age of Trek heart any good. But there's nothing wrong with more Trek, so that's fantastic. Again, officially announced, we've got Section 31, I believe, straight to video film coming out, and we've got a Star Trek Academy series coming out. Prodigy looks like it's been saved because Paramount cut it and no one wanted it, so put it on Netflix. It's been a big hit, so Paramount basically don't appear to know who their audience is and what they're doing. But for the time being,
To be fair, Alan, I find myself in court most weeks.
I've been in court several times. I've been in court so many times. It's a great conversation opener. When I say, I look at people and I go, "Do I know you from somewhere? You done any time?" Sure, I've seen you in court, haven't I? Definitely, yeah. Star Trek Academy series for sure. I think Tilly will be. Oh God! Please
Well, that's the end of that then.
That's the end of that.
That's the end of that, man.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've nothing against the character, but she just can't act. She really can't act.
I mean, do you not find the character just fantastically irritating?
I do, but I think I don't. I think the characters, the idea of the character is very good. I think because it's keeping you in touch with the lower decks, isn't it? But Mary Weissman can't act. That's the problem. So she plays it so scatty that you just end up going, "Oh, just fucking out of an airlock, please." She really does irritate you.
I know. With one of the, I think it was another movie. There was I don't know if it's just rumor or if it was confirmed or not, that Jennifer Lawrence was supposed to star in one. Who did the Hunger Games?
I'm not. I've not seen the Hunger Games, and I'm not. I've heard the name Jennifer Lawrence. I thought she was a rapper.
No.
Have you seen Daredevil?
The original with Ben Affleck. Yes.
Yes, she's in that one.
Oh, she Elektra.
Yes.
No, that was Jennifer Garner.
In the actual movie it was swapped. The stunt roles with Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, she was a stunt actress.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's her stunt bottom that I enjoyed. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
She played Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games.
I've not seen the Hunger. I was a little bit disturbed to hear that the Hunger Games is on my children's school reading list. I think we watched.
I can safely say this much: it's not recommended for kids. I'd say adults only.
Yeah, it's on my kids' school reading list. I'm sure.
To be fair, I mean, if you read Shakespeare, there's a lot of pretty gruesome stuff that happens in there.
Yeah, there is.
A good example is King Lear. And just to bore everybody, let me say that I went to have a beer with the headmaster of my old school the other day by a roaring fire, and I had a conversation with him about King Lear, and I felt terribly clever.
My absolute favourite meme that went around during the pandemic was "Wash your hands like your husband's killed the king." So yeah, Shakespeare is gruesome, and one of my favourite books was recommended to me by my English teacher, to be fair, at A level, and that's American Psycho, which is not easy reading for anyone. Now, trying to wing this back sharply to Star Trek, what are you looking forward to the most, chaps, coming up? Are you looking forward to Section 31, the Starfleet Academy, the new Abrams film? Which one are you...
I'm looking forward to Section 31.
That's your favourite. Yep.
It's not my overall favourite, but the main thing I want to see is if it just links directly up to Discovery, or if the whole of the Section 31 links with things like DS9 side of it, not Voyager side of it.
You
Next
thinking of
Generation,
Sloane?
because I think. Say again?
Are you thinking of Sloane, who appeared in a few episodes of DS9 with
I am.
Bashir, Secret Operative?
Well, he's dead, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
where we came across Section 31 originally.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't
Well,
Section 31 initially brought into it in Next Gen?
so
don't
no,
remember.
Because I'm sure Picard
there's
mentioned
no
it a couple of
section.
times.
There's no Section 31 in Next Gen, but the earliest canon mention of Section 31 is in Enterprise. So we know it's been around for some time.
Well, all right.
It's not mentioned in Next Gen.
Chronologically, yes, but yes, it wasn't mentioned, I think, in any of the earlier shows apart from the.
Well, it's a secret organisation. I mean, it'd be a bit crap if it was mentioned every week.
It's hidden in plain sight. Section 31 relates to the Federation Charter.
Oh, who do you reckon Section 31 aboard the Riker's beard?
Mm.
I've got my suspicion. Who it might be.
There is another thing that I'm looking forward to, and it's not on all screens, it's mainly online. I don't know if you two guys have heard of a person called John Brownton. He does.
Yeah, he's the Starship Farragut guy, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah.
Now, I've watched quite a lot of his work, and I've got to say it's pretty good. And he's got a new series coming up in about a couple of months.
This is the movie era version, isn't it?
It is.
So he's gone from classic era. He's jumped. He's following the pattern of the TOS series of movies. So we've seen the set where they're wearing the monster maroon uniforms and so on, and thought that looks like lovely work.
And so I've got to say, I'm actually kind of intrigued with it to see where he's going to go, to see if he goes all the way through that era, possibly go into another era, and so on.
It's difficult to play the same character because if you go from the TOS movies to Next Gen, you have to jump forward 80 years. So you can't really be the same character. I mean, we saw a meme the other day, didn't we, Richard, that was slightly frightening. It said, we're now further on from Voyager than Voyager was from TOS when it came out. You go, bloody hell, Voyager was 30 years ago and they were 30 years after the original series. Yeah.
And Alan's got something to say here. I'll let you read it out, James.
So on the first night of Titus Andronicus, a well-known Shakespeare play at Stratford in 1955, at the climax of the tragedy, Vivian Leigh, playing the cruelly ravished Lavinia, who has had her hands chopped off and her tongue cut out, dropped the stick with which she was supposed to write the names of her assailants in the sand. It clattered noisily onto the stage, prompting Noel Coward to arrive in her dressing room after the performance, wagging his finger reprovingly, and you can imagine that, can't you? And admonishing her, "Tut, tut, butter stumps." Now, that's such a Noel Coward thing to say.
It's such an Alan thing to say. Betty says Tawny Newsome is meant to be writing for it. Yes.
That is good news, Betty, because Tawny Newsome is great fun, as is Jack Quaid.
Let's get it on the table now. Who do you want to be Commandant of the Academy? I'm going straight now for Steve Gutenberg.
Steve Gutenberg, yeah.
Steve Gutenberg. Can be no one else.
It's an absolute no-brainer, Steve Gutenberg.
Steve Gutenberg, Commandant of Starfleet Academy.
Who's this going to be his adjutant?
I think possibly you should have Data.
Michael Winslow.
No, you should have Data, and he can make all the noises like Motormouth.
What's to actually say that you couldn't have both?
Yeah.
Well, you could have
Michael Winslow, yeah. There's
no saying that you could have one.
Who would be head of PE?
Oh,
Jolin from Gladiators. Well, we're at time now, chaps. Thank you for joining us, Tony. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
It's been great to see everyone, especially everyone who's commented in the comments. We love to hear from all of you. Thank you so much for watching. And if you could find your way to hitting the like and the heart emoji. And until next week, please do look after yourselves
And
and
each
each
other.
other.
And we'll